for your love and good wishes. We are a broad gathering of children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, spouses, in-laws and friends. If I've missed anybody out, I'm sorry.
Nieces.
Nieces. That's their relatives. From Beijing to Holland, from London to Newquay, via Bath, Bristol and Wiltshire. Quite a gathering. The nonagenarian is honoured and moved. Page 2. On my grand's 90th birthday, going back a bit, in Brecon, she was receiving friends and family at Auntie Polly's house. A glass of port-type wine and a mince pie to go with the chat and the jollies. Auntie Polly was president of her chapel and a much loved and admired local contralto. She drew me aside in the kitchen and whispered, referring to Gran, "You wouldn't think she was 90 years of age. Just look at her tone. She's beautiful. Not a mark on her." And Gran had brought up 10 children, many years of those as a widow. Anyway, to begin, 1925. While my mother was carrying me, she didn't know it was me at the time, she was doing for a Mr. and Mrs. Bowes Lyons, cousins of the Queen, with a cottage in Brecon. Somehow, the fact that my mother Flo was pregnant got back to the palace and set the King and Queen thinking and performing. Anyway, I was born in 3 months later. What the Joneses, I was born in January, and our beloved Queen 3 months later. What the Joneses and the Aubreys do today, the Windsors do tomorrow.
Hooray!
1926, the year of the general strike. During the war, 13 years later, my first wife, Delia, was evacuated from London and billeted with Mrs. Jenkins, 3 doors up from us. We got to know one another, and when Delia returned to London, the doodlebugs were still at it. Yeah. We became pen friends. Remember letters? Long, newsy letters, putting the world to rights? Some of you will. When I got out of the army, we met up again and got married. While Delia was pregnant with Glynis, our firstborn, we moved 5 times. And on the 4th move, we were wondering where next. We got talking to a couple of Welsh friends in the pub on a Saturday night after rugby and after the singing. They said that the flat below them in Twickenham was going, so we moved in. It was a mid-Victorian house converted into 4 furnished flats. Bliss. The sitting room, though, had a brooding sideboard, all dark and oak and decorated with coloured glass. I still feel it. After a while we moved from London to Derby, and from there we landed up in 87 Bloomfield Avenue in Bath. There were a lot of families like ours in the road. We mixed, played and partied together. As well as encouraging our family to run itself, Delia worked from time to time in youth clubs, a toy shop, and as a counsellor at the university. She was a wow, wherever. Sadly, she died young, before her grandchildren could get to know and love her. She was fun. I met Angie. I was her tutor, though it was never clear who was teaching whom. It's clearer now. She's an inspired, resourceful and much loved teacher. Yes. We married in 1988. A beautiful day on the 1st of October. It seems like the day before yesterday. Angela's class turned out in force to cheer us on our way in Queen Square. We held our wedding feast in the Francis Hotel. We've travelled a long way since then together, since that happy day. What did I say? Did I say we had our wedding feast in the Francis Hotel?
Yes.
And it was a happy day.
Angie's a mine of underused talent, skill, and I thrive. I sometimes even flourish. And to prove it, I messed that up. And to prove it, I love that more nice than
Don't worry, Tony. It's fine.
Anyway, to prove it, I'm going to read you a poem by Charles Ludwig Dobson. If I can find it. You are old, Father William, the young man said, and your hair has become very white, and you incessantly stand on your head. Do you think at your age it's right? In my youth, Father William replied to his son, I feared it might injure the brain. But now that I'm perfectly sure I have none, why, I do it again and again. You are old, said the youth, as I mentioned before, and have grown most uncommonly fat. Yet you turned a back somersault in at the door. Pray, what is the reason for that? In my youth, said the sage, as he shook his grey locks, I kept all my limbs very supple. By use of this ointment, 1 shilling the box. Allow me to sell you a couple. You are old, said the youth, and your jaws are too weak for anything tougher than suet. Yet you finished the goose with the bones in the beak. Pray, how did you manage to do it? In my youth, said his father, I took to the law and argued each case with my wife, and the muscular strength which it gave to my jaw has lasted the rest of my life. You are old, said the youth, and would hardly suppose that your eye was as steady as ever. Yet you balanced an eel on the end of your nose. What made you so awfully clever? I have answered 3 questions, and that is enough, said his father. Don't give yourself airs. Do you think I can listen all day to such stuff? Be off, or I'll kick you upstairs. There we are. Well done.
Hooray! Thank you, Tony.